These are extraordinarily dangerous times. We are responding by playing our part to uphold and strengthen the global system, and by the commitment and professionalism of our people. But it's not just the hideous violence or the competition over territory that should worry us. It's also the backdrop of ideological struggles and creaking pains of tense democracies which are putting the international system under intense strain. And what is particularly concerning is the slow dismantling of the security architecture that has been with us since the fall of the Berlin Wall. It's a backdrop that my generation may have taken for granted, but it is collapsing. Let me start with a few words about October's cruel attacks by Hamas, and after visiting Israel last week with the Defense Secretary. Those of us watching on in horror cannot underestimate the sense within Israel that this is an existential threat, or the vulnerability felt by Jewish people worldwide, including here in the United Kingdom. The government has been clear in its view that Israel is entitled to bring the perpetrators of such hideous acts to justice and to defeat the threat posed by Hamas. Inevitably, fighting in such densely packed urban areas risks causing immense harm to civilians, which is why we have urged restraint, and we continue to work with our partners in the region to identify options to deliver aid. After 2 years of bitter sacrifice, it should be clear to Putin that the Ukrainian people will never permit their country to return to Moscow's orbit. And now he's wanted by the International Criminal Court. He suffered the shock and humiliation of an attempted coup. Crimea is no longer safe. The Black Sea Fleet has scattered. He has to keep 400,000 troops in Ukraine to hold on to what he has taken. And he can't order a general mobilization, at least not ahead of next year's election, for fear of how his own people will respond. Abroad, he is a Potemkin-like figure, unable to rely on international support because Russia has few real friends in the world. Increasingly, he resembles a prisoner of his own making. But if his first catastrophic mistake was invading Ukraine, he is now making his second calamitous blunder. The Russian economy is being twisted even more out of shape. Nearly 40% of all Russian public expenditure is being spent on defense. That is more than the aggregate of health and education. And the last time we saw these levels was at the end of the Cold War and the collapse of the Soviet Union.